Okay, baby. A comment just asked me for my Nekros build, so I'm gonna be very extra and give you my top 3 resource farming Warframes in Warframe right now. Let's do this. Subscribe! Okay, so the first Warframe is of course a Nekros. I have a very specific build if I want to farm for stuff using Nekros, and it's this build. It's gonna be a corrosive projection, prime sure-footed build because of course we don't want to get knocked down and we want the extra armor minus percentage. We have health conversion here for extra armor up to 3 times, so that's 450 times 3. That's a lot of armor. Overextended for the range, extra stretch for the range as well for the desecrate, equilibrium for sustain, prime continuity for duration. This spoil, one of the very important one of the most important augments for Nekros. Well, to be honest, it's literally the only augment that's viable right now other than the Shield of Shadows. Also, we have Augur Reach here and Vitality for the extra health. We also have Arcane Energize and Arcane Blessing. Arcane Blessing really helps with synergizing with the equilibrium. Arcane Blessing gives you extra max health up to 50 times 24 times 50. That's a lot of health, but that's gonna be the build. And for the weapons, you could honestly use any weapon. Obviously, I'm gonna recommend you a slash weapon so that you could slash the bodies into 2 pieces so that you could despoil the enemies 2 times. But other than that, yeah, this build is very easy to use, very user friendly, and honestly very newbie friendly if you're just starting out. It doesn't need any helmets, it doesn't need any special weapons unlike the other frames I'm gonna be showing you later. But this is obviously a very beginner friendly build. Of course, this is only the first Warframe for farming resources. If you obviously don't want Nekros or don't have Nekros, the other build is of course Hydroid. Hydroid recently got a rework and it's very good, very new, and very fun to play. This is my build for farming resources for Hydroid. It's basically the same build. It's more duration and more range with the Pilfering Swarm augment. Okay, let's explain this build. We have Energy Siphon here for energy regen. I know it's a little bit, but a little bit helps a lot. We have Prime Continuity for duration. It helps this with the duration of the 4, which we're gonna be explaining later. Narrow-minded, very quick and easy duration mod minus range though, so you're gonna have to sacrifice that. Constitution is another duration mod, overextended for the range and minus strength. Natural Talent for the cast speed. We're not gonna be using any Archon shards for this build because honestly, I'm gonna show you the third build. That's where we hyper invested. But if you really want to put Archon shards on Nekros and or Hydroid, then energy plus blue shards or maybe casting speed might be a good idea. Umbral Intensify for more strength. You could exchange this for normal Intensify if you really want to. Augur Secrets for the ability strength as well, so that we're not on the negative. And the Pilfering Swarm. Pilfering Swarm is the augment focus of this build. It holds your enemies in the tentacles in his 4th skill, and then has a 100% chance of having additional drops. It's basically the spoil but on steroids. Well, not on steroids, it's basically the same thing, but it has a range as well, and it's there's a seed. So that's a good weapon. So with a good weapon, you could literally kill hundreds of enemies with this build. And if you're farming resources, let's be real, you don't need a very survivable Warframe because you're probably playing level 30, level 40, level 50 missions at the very least. And if you're doing Steel Path, then sure, maybe. But Steel Path is still easy enough. It really doesn't affect things But if you really want more survivability, then don't forget to use a good focus school, maybe a Vazarin if you really want to. But honestly, with this build and with the Nekros build, you could easily survive with just your HP and shields. But if you really want a hyper invested build, then I'm gonna be showing you my most used Warframe for resource farming, my preferred Warframe for resource farming, and that's gonna be, of course, Khora. As you can see, we are hyper invested in Khora here. We have 5,000 shards, 1 parkour velocity, 1 casting speed, and 3 purple melee crit damage. I'm gonna explain to you that later, but here is the build for the resource farming. We have, of course, a helmeted in Spectral Rage from Khora. That's gonna be very important for energy sustain. But for this build, we have Brief Respite for the Aura mod. This is gonna be helping for the shield gating. Prime Sure-Footed, of course, because we love Nightmare Frame in this channel. Prime Continuity and Equilibrium as well for the duration and the sustain. Prime Flow, because of course we have Spectral Rage in this build. We're gonna get lots of energy, so we have to have that big energy pool. Pilfering Strangle Dome is basically the same thing as Pilfering Swarm, but it's the Strangle Dome. Yeah, but instead of 100% chance of dropping loot, it's 65%, so it's a bit lower percentage. But honestly, with the damage that Khora brings, I'm gonna take that nerf, you know. Overextended for the range so that we can have a big Strangle Dome. Accumulating Whip Claw is also another augment. It helps with your first skill, Whip Claw, and it hits 3 enemies. Every time you hit 3 enemies, you're gonna gain a 35% damage bonus, and it will decay after 10 seconds. And this is such a big mod. You need this if you want to do big damage with Khora. Spectral Siphon, of course, is the Spectral Rage augment, and it gives you the energy orbs. Every time you kill an enemy inside the Spectral Rage, you get a 50% chance to drop an energy orb. That's where the Prime Flow comes in, so that we can have tons and tons of energy. Obviously, we also have catalyzing shields because this is a shield gating build. I'm sorry if you don't like shield gating, I don't like it as well. But honestly, with this build, I don't know how you're gonna survive and still path without it. So for Arcanes, we have Arcane Energize. Honestly, Arcane Energize, I really don't need it. I could probably run another Arcane or Molt Augmented, or maybe an Arcane Aegis, but you know what? Fuck it, we're doing it live. Arcane Fury and Molt Augmented for the Arcanes. Now, this build doesn't really work if you don't have the Ceramic Dagger. Honestly, you could probably use other Incarnons, but the Ceramic Dagger is the best weapon for Khora if you're doing this. And honestly, it's not just for the resource farming, it's for any of these builds. For the Nourish Khora build or the Interception Khora build that I have, this Ceramic Dagger does it all. I even have a specific loadout for it. Now this is what I have on my Ceramic Dagger build. We have 6 form on it, Pointed Dagger, Opportunities Reach. We're not on. Honestly, this can be forgotten. Prime Pressure Point, Sacrificial Steel, Spoiled Strike, Gladiator Might for the critical damage, Blood Rush for the critical chance stacks, Organ Shatter, Molten Impact, and Shocking Touch, so that you're gonna have the more damage that you need. Is this what? So you're gonna have enough damage for Steel Path. Honestly, this build is very veteran based. It's gonna need a ton of investment, but once you have the Incarnon evolutions, you could just watch another ceramic video, but this one I'm gonna make a very quick one. Of course, for the second evolution, we're gonna get Gun and Blade for increased damage. For this one, for the third evolution, we're gonna get the 20 initial combo, and for the last one, we're gonna get the increased critical chance. You are using this weapon so that you can have extra crit damage and extra combo multiplier on your whip claw because it works that way. Don't ask me why. It just happens to be that way. I really don't know why it's not put here that melee weapon mods are gonna end melee weapon stats are affecting this thing. Oh, it's literally right there. I'm dumb. But yeah, that's why you're gonna have ceramic dagger in the build. And that's gonna be it. Very quick video. I didn't even have time to fucking I didn't have time to show it off. But honestly, with this builds, it's resource farming. It's gonna have to be quick and easy. People don't really watch videos on resource farming because they want your entertaining ass to entertain them. They just want the fucking builds. But yeah, that's gonna be the video, guys. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Hopefully we get more edited videos next week, but I'll see you guys later. Peace out.